The echo from beyond. The cosmos has always been a silent place, or so humanity believed. On a crisp autumn morning at the European Deep Space Observatory, Dr. Maya Nakamura was about to change that belief forever. She had been monitoring deep space signals for 17 years, and nothing had ever prepared her for what appeared on her screen at exactly 7:42 Greenwich Mean Time. The signal was unlike anything recorded in human history. It pulsed with a deliberate rhythm, defying every known pattern of natural cosmic phenomena. Maya's fingers trembled as she adjusted the receivers, isolating the transmission. Her heart raced as she realized this wasn't mere background noise from dying stars or distant quasars. This was a message. "Director Sullivan, you need to see this." Maya's voice was barely above a whisper as she called her supervisor. Within minutes, the usually quiet observatory transformed into a hive of activity. Scientists from every department converged on Maya's station, drawn by the gravity of what this could mean. Dr. Robert Sullivan, a veteran of 40 years in space research, studied the data with growing astonishment. "Run it through the decoding algorithms," he ordered, though his voice betrayed an emotion rarely heard in the halls of science. Fear mixed with wonder. The decoding process took hours. Advanced AI systems worked tirelessly to crack the alien language while Earth's brightest minds held their breath. When the translation finally appeared on screen, the room fell deathly silent. "Help, system, dying, coordinates, PLAs." The message was fragmented but unmistakable. Someone, or something, was calling for help from the depths of space. The coordinates pointed to a star system 20 light-years away, far beyond any human exploration. Within days, the United Earth Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from every nation gathered in the Grand Assembly Hall in New Geneva. The debate was fierce and passionate. "We cannot ignore this," argued Ambassador Chen Wei of the Asian Alliance. "If an advanced civilization is seeking our help, we have a moral obligation to respond. Or it could be a trap," countered General Alexander Petrov of the Eurasian Defense Force. "We've lived in peace for 50 years. Why risk everything on an unknown signal?" The arguments continued for hours until President Sarah Martinez of the Americas Federation stood. "Throughout history, humanity has faced moments that defined our species. When we discovered fire, when we reached the moon, when we colonized Mars. Each time, we chose to step forward into the unknown. Today, we face another such moment." The vote was close but decisive. Earth would respond. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in facilities unknown to most of humanity, the war giants began to stir. These massive vessels, each stretching over 3 kilometers in length, had been built during Earth's turbulent past as the ultimate deterrent. For decades, they had slumbered, their existence known only to the highest echelons of government. Admiral Elena Vance, recalled from retirement, stood on the bridge of the Colossus, the flagship of the war giant fleet. At 65, she had hoped never to command these behemoths again. Now she watched as ancient systems powered up, their hum vibrating through the deck plates. "Status report," she commanded. "Colossus is at 90% operational capacity," reported Commander Jake Harrison. "Titan, Goliath, Leviathan, and Behemoth are coming online as well. Full fleet readiness in 48 hours. The war giants were more than ships. They were mobile fortresses capable of devastating entire planets. Each carried weapons that could crack continental plates, shields that could withstand supernovas, and engines that bent the fabric of space itself." As preparations continued, volunteers from across Earth answered the call. The best pilots, engineers, scientists, and soldiers assembled at the launch facilities. Among them was Dr. Marcus Chen, a xenolinguist whose theories about alien communication had been considered fringe science until now. As preparations continued, volunteers from across Earth answered the call. The best pilots, engineers, scientists, and soldiers assembled at the launch facilities. Among them was Dr. Marcus Chen, a xenolinguist whose theories about alien communication had been considered fringe science until now. "I've analyzed the signal further," Marcus reported to Admiral Vance. "There's something else in the message, a warning. They mention devourers and endless hunger. Whatever they're fighting, it's not just destroying them. It's consuming them." The launch day arrived with little fanfare. The world watched in silence as 5 massive vessels rose from hidden oceanic bases, water cascading from their hulls like waterfalls. The war giants, symbols of humanity's darkest capabilities, now carried the hope of salvation for an unknown civilization. "All ships report ready for trans-light jump," Commander Harrison announced. Admiral Vance took her seat in the command chair, feeling the weight of history upon her shoulders. "This is Admiral Vance to all vessels. Today, we venture into the unknown not as conquerors, but as protectors. We carry with us the best of humanity. Our courage, our compassion, and yes, our strength. Whatever awaits us, we face it together." She paused, then gave the order that would change human history forever. "Engage trans-light engines. Take us to those coordinates." Space twisted around the war giants as they punched through the fabric of reality. Humanity's greatest weapons were now humanity's greatest hope, racing toward a distress call that had crossed the void of space to find them. The journey would take 3 weeks. In that time, the crews prepared for every possible scenario. They trained in combat simulations, studied theoretical xenobiology, and practiced first contact protocols. Yet nothing could truly prepare them for what they would find. As the Colossus's sensors detected the approaching star system, Admiral Vance gathered her senior staff. "Whatever we find out there, survivors, enemies or both, remember why we came. We heard a cry for help, and we answered. That's what makes us human." The war giants dropped out of trans-light space at the edge of the system. What they saw defied comprehension. A once beautiful world hung broken in space, its surface scarred by unimaginable destruction. Massive chunks of the planet drifted in orbit, forming a grotesque ring of debris. "Life signs?" Vance asked, her voice tight. "Faint, but present," replied the science officer. "The southern hemisphere still has breathable atmosphere in isolated pockets. The distress signal is still transmitting." "Then there's hope," Vance said. "Prepare landing teams. If someone survived this apocalypse, we're going to find them." As shuttles prepared to launch toward the ruined world, sensors detected something else, energy signatures moving through the debris field. They weren't natural phenomena, and they weren't friendly. "Admiral," the tactical officer's voice was grim, "we have company." The war giants had awakened, and they were about to face their first true test. Whatever had destroyed this world was still here, lurking in the shadows of a shattered planet. Humanity had answered a call for help, but they might have arrived just in time for their own destruction. Into the void. The landing shuttle descended through clouds of metallic dust, its hull groaning against the atmospheric pressure of the dying world. Lieutenant Sarah Chen gripped her seat harness as turbulence rocked the craft. Through the viewport, she glimpsed the skeletal remains of what must have been magnificent cities, now nothing but twisted spires reaching toward a blood-red sky. "Touchdown in 30 seconds, announced the pilot. "Atmospheric readings show breathable air, but keep your helmets sealed until we confirm it's safe." The shuttle settled into what appeared to be a plaza, its landing gear crunching on crystalline debris. Sarah led her team of 12 specialists out into the alien twilight. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth's, giving their movements an ethereal quality. "The signal's coming from that structure," Dr. Marcus Chen said, pointing toward a dome half buried in rubble. No relation to Sarah, Marcus had insisted on joining the ground team despite Admiral Vance's concerns. As they approached, Sarah noticed strange symbols etched into the surviving walls, graceful curves that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. The entrance was blocked by fallen debris, but they found a maintenance tunnel leading underground. The interior was a maze of corridors lit by failing emergency lights that cast everything in an eerie blue glow. Their footsteps echoed in the silence, each sound a reminder of the civilization that once thrived here. "I'm picking up life signs," whispered Corporal James Rodriguez, studying his scanner. "Single entity, weak but stable. 20 meters ahead." They entered a circular chamber dominated by a central console. There, slumped over the controls, was their first glimpse of alien life. The being was roughly humanoid but taller, with elongated limbs and skin that shimmered like mother of pearl. 4 arms moved weakly over the console, and when it turned, they saw compound eyes that reflected their lights like prisms. The alien spoke in a series of clicks and whistles. Marcus stepped forward, activating his translation device. After several moments of processing, broken words emerged. "You received message, but too late for my people." Sarah removed her helmet, showing trust. "We came as soon as we could. I'm Lieutenant Sarah Chen of Earth." "Who are you?" The alien's eyes focused on her. "I am Zixthil, last keeper of knowledge. The Devourers came, consumed everything, left only death." "The Devourers?" Marcus asked. "What are they?" Zixthil's body shuddered. "Hunters from void between stars. They feed on life energy, on consciousness itself. Planet after planet falls to their hunger. We thought ourselves safe. We were wrong." Suddenly, alarms blared from the human equipment. Rodriguez checked his scanner, face paling. "Lieutenant, we've got movement. Lots of it, coming from all directions." The chamber's lights flickered, and a sound reached them. A low, pulsing hum that seemed to bypass their ears and resonate directly in their bones. Zixthil's reaction was immediate and terrifying. "They know you're here," the alien gasped. "Your ships, your minds, drew them like beacon. Must leave. Now." The team began a fighting retreat through the corridors. Behind them, the walls themselves seemed to come alive with writhing shadows. Sarah caught glimpses of the enemy, amorphous shapes that defied physics, flowing like liquid yet striking with terrible solidity. "Colossus, this is Chen," she shouted into her comm. "We need immediate extraction. Hostile contact." They burst onto the surface to find the sky had changed. What had been a hazy red was now roiling with dark clouds that moved against the wind. From these clouds, shapes descended, massive, tentacled things that made the shadows in the tunnel seem insignificant. The shuttle's engines roared to life, but before they could board, one of the creatures struck. Private Thompson was lifted into the air, his screams cutting off abruptly as the thing seemed to absorb him, leaving nothing but empty armor to clatter to the ground. "Get on board," Sarah ordered, laying down covering fire. Her plasma rounds seemed to pass through the creatures without effect. As the shuttle lifted off, Zixthil provided coordinates to his people's last repository of knowledge. Everything we learned about Devourers, how to fight them. Stored there, you must. A massive tendril smashed into the shuttle, sending it spinning. Through the chaos, Sarah saw the alien throne clear, still clutching a data crystal. Without thinking, she leaped from the damaged craft, grabbed Zixthil, and activated her emergency beacon. Seconds later, a transport beam from the Colossus enveloped them both. On the bridge of the Colossus, Admiral Vance watched as the tactical display filled with hostile contacts. The Devourers were emerging from subspace rifts all around the planet, their forms defying conventional sensors. "All ships, battle stations," she commanded. "Weapons free." The war giants opened fire with everything they had. Particle beams that could vaporize asteroids, missiles with antimatter warheads, gravity weapons that could tear apart moons, all unleashed against the approaching horror. To their dismay, conventional weapons proved nearly useless. The Devourers absorbed energy attacks and seemed to phase through physical projectiles. They swarmed toward the human ships like antibodies attacking an infection. In the medical bay, Sarah watched as doctors tried to stabilize Zixthil. The alien was dying, its life force literally being drained by proximity to the Devourers. "The crystal," Zixthil gasped, pressing it into Sarah's hands. "Contains weapon schematics, frequency modulators, only way to harm them. Must configure your weapons. With his last breath, Zixthil provided the activation sequence. The crystal interfaced with the ship's computers, uploading terabytes of alien data. On the bridge, Chief Engineer Maria Kovacs worked frantically to integrate the alien technology. Admiral, we need to reconfigure our entire weapons grid. It'll take time we don't have. Do it, Vance ordered. All ships form defensive sphere. We hold them here. The 5 war giants arranged themselves in a 3-dimensional formation, their shields overlapping to create a barrier. The Devourers crashed against this defense like waves against a seawall, each impact draining power from the shields. As Kovacs worked, Dr. Marcus Chen analyzed the alien data. Admiral, these creatures, they're not just predators. They're a force of entropy, drawn to organized consciousness. The more advanced a civilization, the more attractive it becomes to them. Then they're in for a surprise, Vance said grimly. Because humanity didn't become advanced by running from fights. The first reconfigured weapon came online, a modified particle beam that operated on the quantum frequency specified in the alien data. When it fired, the effect was immediate. The beam struck a devourer, and for the first time, the creature recoiled in pain. It works, Kovacs shouted, reconfiguring all weapons now. What followed was a battle unlike anything in human history. The war giants, armed with their new weapons, fought with the fury of a species defending not just themselves, but the memory of a civilization already lost. Each ship became a fortress of defiance against the consuming darkness. But the Devourers were endless. For every one destroyed, 2 more emerged from the void. The human ships were being slowly overwhelmed. In the midst of battle, Admiral Vance made a decision that would define humanity's place in the cosmos. All ships prepare for Protocol Omega. Her crew turned to stare. Protocol Omega was theoretical, a last resort measure that would overload the war giants' reactors, creating a chain reaction powerful enough to collapse local spacetime. Admiral, Commander Harrison protested, we'll destroy everything within 10 light years, including ourselves, and trap the Devourers in a spatial anomaly they can't escape, Vance replied. If we don't stop them here, they'll follow our trail back to Earth. Sometimes, Lieutenant, the greatest act of protection is sacrifice. As the crews prepared for their final act, Sarah Chen made a discovery in the alien data. Wait, there's something else here. Not just weapons, a summons. The crystal isn't just information. It's a key. Marcus quickly analyzed her findings. She's right. It's designed to call something, or someone. Guardians, according to this translation. Do it, Vance ordered without hesitation. Sarah activated the crystal's secondary function. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, reality itself seemed to tear open. From moons in space-time emerged ships unlike anything they had ever seen. Vessels of pure energy that dwarfed even the war giants. The Guardians had arrived, ancient protectors awakened by the crystal's call. They engaged the Devourers with weapons that operated on principles beyond human understanding. Where they struck, Devourers didn't just die. They ceased to exist, erased from reality itself. The battle turned. With the Guardians leading the charge and the war giants providing support, the Devourer swarm was systematically annihilated. As the last creature dissolved into nothingness, the Guardians turned their attention to the human ships. A voice spoke directly into the minds of every human present. You answered a call not meant for you. You fought for those you did not know. You were willing to sacrifice everything for strangers. The galaxy has been waiting for a species like yours. Admiral Vance stepped forward on her bridge. Who are you? We are what remains of the first ones, automated systems left to protect younger species. But we cannot be everywhere. The galaxy needs new guardians. Will humanity accept this responsibility? Vance looked at her crew, saw the determination in their eyes, and knew the answer. We will. Then receive our gift. Your war giants will be enhanced. Your species will join the ranks of protectors. But know this, The burden is heavy, and the enemy is eternal. Light enveloped the human ships. When it faded, the war giants had been transformed, merged with Guardian technology. Humanity had entered a new age. As they prepared to return to Earth, Sarah Chen looked at the data crystal, now dim but still warm in her hand. They had come to answer a distress call and found instead their destiny. The cost had been high, but humanity had proven itself worthy of a greater purpose. The war giants, once weapons of destruction, were now instruments of protection. And somewhere in the vast cosmos, other species would one day send their own calls for help, calls that humanity would answer. When giants roar, the return to Earth was marked not by celebration, but by solemn purpose. The 5 transformed war giants emerged from trans-light space like newborn stars, their hulls now shimmering with Guardian technology that defied human understanding. Admiral Lelina Vance stood on the bridge of the Colossus, feeling the ship's enhanced consciousness merge with her own thoughts. "Earth Command, this is Admiral Vance," she transmitted. "We're home, but everything has changed." The United Earth Council reconvened in emergency session. This time, there was no debate, only stunned silence as they witnessed the footage of the battle and heard the Guardian's message. President Martinez addressed the assembly with gravity in her voice. "We sent our finest to answer a distress call. They return as protectors of the galaxy. The question before us is not whether we accept this responsibility. Our crews already have. The question is, how do we prepare humanity for its new role?" Across Earth, the transformation began. The existence of the war giants was revealed to the public, along with humanity's new mandate. Recruitment centers opened on every continent as millions volunteered to join the Guardian Corps. Scientists worked day and night to understand and replicate the alien technologies. 6 months later, deep space monitoring stations detected the first test of humanity's resolve. A distress signal, weaker than the first but unmistakable, originated from a system 12 light-years away. This time, there was no hesitation. Captain Michael Torres commanded the Leviathan, leading the first official Guardian response mission. His crew was a mixture of veterans from the original mission and eager new recruits. Among them was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a young xenobiologist whose theories about consciousness-based predators had been vindicated by the Devourers. "Signal analysis complete," reported Lieutenant Eva Mendoza. "It's a primitive civilization, roughly equivalent to Earth's Iron Age. They're under attack by something different from the Devourers." The Leviathan arrived to find a lush green world under siege by crystalline entities that consumed organic matter, leaving behind geometric structures of pure silicon. The native species, bipedal reptilians with limited technology, fought hopelessly against the invasion. "These aren't Devourers," Dr. Tanaka observed. "They're architects. They reshape worlds according to their own design, eliminating native life in the process." Captain Torres didn't hesitate. "All hands, battle stations. Deploy atmospheric insertion teams. We're going to show these architects what happens when they target protected worlds." The battle showcased humanity's evolution as protectors. The enhanced war giants could now project energy shields over entire continents, while their weapons precisely targeted the architects without harming the planet's ecosystem. Ground teams, equipped with Guardian-enhanced armor, fought alongside the desperate natives. Private Alex Cooper found himself fighting back-to-back with a reptilian warrior. Despite the language barrier, they communicated through the universal language of combat. When the warrior fell, wounded by an architect's beam, Cooper didn't hesitate to carry him to safety. "We're not just here to fight," Cooper later wrote in his journal. "We're here to preserve life, to protect those who can't protect themselves." This is what humanity was meant to be. The architects were driven off, but the real work began afterward. Humanity established its first Guardian outpost, helping the natives rebuild while sharing basic technologies to aid their development. It was the template for what would become standard procedure. Over the next decade, humanity answered dozens of distress calls. Each encounter brought new challenges, new enemies, and new allies. The galaxy, it seemed, was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The most significant test came in the form of the Void Sovereign, an entity that commanded fleets of Devars. It had noticed humanity's interference and decided to eliminate this new threat. The confrontation took place at the edge of the Orion Arm, where 50 Devourer swarms converged on a human colony world. Admiral Vance, now Supreme Commander of the Guardian Fleet, led 20 enhanced war giants into battle. Beside them fought ships from 7 species that humanity had saved, a coalition born from gratitude and shared purpose. All ships, this is Vance, she broadcast as the enemy approached. Today, we face the darkness that has haunted this galaxy for millennia. We fight not just for humanity, but for all life. Show them why the Guardians chose us. The battle raged across multiple star systems. War giants unleashed weapons that bent reality itself, while coalition forces provided crucial support. At the climax, the Colossus faced the Void Sovereign directly, an entity of pure darkness, the size of a small moon. In that moment, Vance understood the true gift of the Guardians. The enhancement wasn't just technological, it was spiritual. She reached out with her mind, connecting with every human in the fleet, creating a gestalt consciousness that rivaled the Sovereign itself. "You feed on fear and isolation," she declared, her voice resonating across dimensions. "But we are humanity. We are connection. We are hope. And we will never yield." The combined willpower of 20,000 humans, channeled through Guardian technology, struck the Void Sovereign with a force that transcended physical reality. The entity, which had existed since the dawn of time, experienced something it never had before: defeat. As the Sovereign dissipated, its Devourer fleets lost cohesion. Some fled into deep space, while others simply ceased to exist. The galaxy's greatest threat had been broken. In the aftermath, representatives from hundreds of civilizations gathered on Earth. The United Galactic Council was formed, with humanity as its primary defender. The war giants, once hidden symbols of human aggression, became beacons of hope across the stars. 20 years after first answering that fateful distress call, Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood before the graduating class of the Guardian Academy. Behind her, the holographic images of fallen heroes reminded everyone of the price of their calling. "We didn't choose this path," she told the assembled recruits. "The universe chose us. When that first signal reached Earth, we could have ignored it. We could have stayed safe in our corner of the galaxy. But that's not who we are." She activated a display showing the current state of the galaxy: vast networks of protected worlds, trade routes secured by human patrols, and diplomatic stations fostering cooperation between species. We answered a cry for help, and in doing so, we found our purpose. The war giants were built as weapons of destruction, but they became instruments of salvation. You are the next generation of Guardians. The galaxy looks to you not with fear, but with hope. As the ceremony concluded, a priority alert sounded. Another distress signal, this one from beyond the galactic rim. Admiral Chen smiled, remembering her own first mission. "Graduates, it seems your first assignment has found you. Report to your ships. Someone out there needs us." The new Guardians rushed to their vessels, eager to continue humanity's legacy. In space, the latest generation of enhanced ships, sleeker, more powerful, but still carrying the essence of the original war giants, prepared to jump to translight speed. From Earth, billions watched as humanity's protectors vanished into the stars, racing toward another cry for help. Parents told their children the story of how humans became the galaxy's guardians, how they chose compassion over fear, protection over isolation. In the depths of space, a damaged ship from an unknown civilization detected the approaching human fleet. Its crew, preparing for the end, suddenly felt something they hadn't experienced in months: hope. The translators crackled to life with a message in their own language. "This is the Earth Guardian Fleet. We received your distress call. Help has arrived." The war giants roared across the cosmos, no longer weapons of war, but shields for the defenseless. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as protectors. When the universe called for help, Earth answered, and the giants would never sleep again.